Welcome to the Sacred Comedy Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Way, and today we welcome comedian Matt Storrs to our show, along with our resident tarot reader and somatic therapist, Lyssa Mandel. If you're new to the Sacred Comedy Podcast, we are so happy that you're here. We love to bring you healing experiences with our amazing comedian guests, and we love using tarot to do it. So if you don't know what tarot is, these episodes are a really great way to start getting like bits and pieces into your mind. During Lyssa's readings, you always get a chance to learn a little bit about the cards, the meanings, and you'll receive some gems that just might bring you some clarity into your own life. We love to be a reflective type of show. It's conversations like these that we hope illuminate what's common between each of us and touch on what we all feel at times. Listen in to hear how to balance all the different tugs we feel in our life and how to build our proper foundations. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, like, and comment. You are very important to us as we grow into your favorite podcast. So thank you for joining us, and we're so happy that you're here. Well, Matt, it's nice to meet you.
And wonderful to meet you as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming onto the show and for being open to doing this. Sometimes these readings can be vulnerable, but you're in great hands with Lyssa, as I'm sure you know. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, what we like to do is just a brief intro. Have you ever had a tarot reading before or any kind of site?
Yeah, I have. I will admit that in college, and subsequent to it as well, I did do a fair amount of tarot myself.
Oh.
Mostly in the, like, if you read the book, you have a pretty good understanding, and then it just opens the door to talking to more people. So it'd be like, oh yeah, somebody's got a tarot deck, I can meet the whole party now. And so that was really nice. And then right behind the camera here, I have oracle cards, and that I occasionally will pull if I have something coming up.
That's awesome. So this isn't new for you. This isn't like something that you've never considered before, but which we're not used to on this show because we do get a lot of people who are kind of like not really into it. But this is exciting. I didn't know.
Yeah, so Matt's great. He's stepped into the woo.
Yeah, sure. If nothing else.
How deep have you stepped in? Is it like up to your knees? Is it up to your chest? Is it up to the ombre?
I sit up to the ombre. It's I would say I'm woo adjacent. So there's occasional just dip the toe in, just testing the water, see how it's feeling, whether or not it's warm. And then maybe take a plunge every so often if the water seems good.
Awesome. Have you ever read for Matt before, Lyssa?
Yes. Yeah, I think I have.
Probably.
I also was on. Matt has a podcast called Mattsplaining, where he has on people who are experts in something, and then he tells them about that thing. So, like, I came on to talk about tarot, and then Matt proceeded to own me in tarot, like conceptually.
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily know that I did that, because most of what
you knew more historically than I did.
Yeah, but also I feel bad about this. And that was your takeaway. I made up most of that. Like,
it sounded good, but I guess you went to law school, so like I shouldn't be surprised.
Oh yeah, and I mean I will say that some of it I find nuggets of truth, or like I use like the truth as a branching off point, and then I make so like the initial couple statements may have been true, but then everything subsequent to that was me being like, okay, yeah, how can I yes and myself into something absurd?
That's amazing. I love it. So you went to law school. What happened there?
A lot of studying, a lot of reading, a lot of trying to find excuses not to do those things, a lot of baking, surprisingly enough. And eventually got done with it, and then was lucky enough to find a job and do comedy and storytelling outside of it as well. So, they didn't completely take away the creativity.
It's good to know. Well,
Yeah.
so I'd love for you to think a little about any questions, any burning questions you might have that tarot can kind of help guide you with. Anything that's
Okay.
kind of going on for you right now. Um, I feel like Lyssa's sort of like the Vanna White of the woo. So like Lyssa's gonna shuffle the cards.
You are
I'm trying to
well,
like
and I
do
want
the
to
right.
tell you, I have a new deck that I
Okay.
haven't really worked with another person yet. It is the Dawn Aquarius Tarot, and
Okay.
it matches your shirt perfectly,
Oh
which
It
makes
God,
me
does.
so
everyone.
Yeah.
happy.
Everyone, please watch the video because you'll see
Yeah,
an explosion of color
yeah,
with a
Yeah.
lot of
very
hot pink. And hot pink, I have to say, is one of my OG favorite colors. Yeah.
truly OG. Yeah, so Matt, basically, I mean, you've heard my spiel before, but if there's like you know, an issue around which you would like some clarity, I don't read predictively. I'm not a psychic,
Hmm.
but can bring some can shed some light on like actionable behaviors or like mindset shifts that might help to bring you closer to like an aligned place, I guess I should say, a more easeful place. So if you have any particular questions or life issues you would like that
Uh,
clarity around.
yeah, I mean, I would say, general, clarity towards, some, creative endeavors and how they are going to shape out. I have some stuff, next month with the, no bones about it. But then I also have, a test show of, uh, uh,
But
the, about the Fast and the Furious movies, and as if they were real. So just kind of creative endeavors, and the kind of the concern of like, oh, am I spreading myself too thin? And am I giving enough attention and care to the things I care about outside of creativity? That might be a way too broad of a series of concerns.
well, we'll see. We'll
She
see.
can synthesize pretty well. She can. One thing I will say, Lyssa like always likes to say that she's not psychic, but she is super psychic, super intuitive, and she really gets to the heart of what your question is.
Okay.
And she
Thanks,
can.
Jen.
But I just want to quickly say while you're shuffling, what is no bones about it? Would like
Yeah.
tell us.
Yeah, so that is a new solo show with PowerPoint about my lifelong love of dinosaurs, and how I found myself going back to that love of dinosaurs at the end, or at the end of relationships and various situations where I was rebuffed with my romantic advances, and how I learning about dinosaurs helped me process the ends of those relationships and those rejections, as well as learn quite a bit about myself.
Wow, that sounds super interesting. I would love to see
Thank
that.
you. Thank
Yeah,
Yeah.
you.
4 dates in April.
Yes, indeed.
Woo! All
That's
Yeah.
right.
under St. Mark's.
Yes,
Nice.
indeed.
All right. We'll have those this show's gonna air April 10th.
Oh,
So
perfect.
we'll have all the details down in the show notes. But okay. And
Excellent.
Lyssa, drum
Yeah.
roll.
Okay, so I don't normally read reversals, but as I was shuffling earlier, the deck kind of like splattered all over the place, and I just put it back together. So there are a couple of reversals in here, which I find really
Okay.
interesting. So I'm just gonna go with it. We
All
have
right.
three main cards that I pulled. We have the King of Swords, which has been
Hmm.
coming a lot lately, the Wheel of Fortune, and the King of Cups in reverse.
Okay.
And on the bottom of the deck, which Jen knows I like to look at the bottom of the deck to see like what's kind of running in the background, we have the Queen of Wands reversed.
Okay.
A couple of reversals. We have a lot of court cards here. So we have 3 courts and a major arcana. So it's big energy, it's strong energy. It's not just like piddly whatever. So not that the minor arcana is piddly whatever, but it's like it feels uh, it feels like it's heralding like actually a big like sea change, I think. With I'm going to start with the Wheel of Fortune actually, because it's right in the center here. Major Arcana card that is basically a call to surrender to the way that the turning of the tides, and it basically is a reminder that like if you are feeling up, then eventually you'll be at the bottom of the wheel, and if you're at the bottom of the wheel, eventually you'll be at the top of the wheel. So like sometimes it's associated with fate,
Hmm.
the karmic wheel. But to me, I find it very liberating because it's sort of like what will be, even if you try to fight it. Like you
Okay.
can't fight a rainstorm; it's coming. But I think it's really good in next to this King of Swords here, because um, swords is the realm of like the intellect of thoughts, of knowledge, and the
Hmm.
king is of course like the master of that suit. And the King of Swords, so as opposed to the queens who are much more internal, the kings are more external, right? They have something to share with their
Right.
king, with their and so the King of Swords generally is like reflects somebody who is being asked to teach,
Hmm.
to like to take the stage basically and educate his subjects in a diplomatic and an equanimous and well-informed way, and to know that like you have the intelligence required for this, you have the strength of personality, the presence, and so just to be sure to like wield that sword in a fair and just way. So I think that creatively this lines up perfectly with what it is that you're doing. Whether it's this show, whether it's other shows, storytelling, stand up, it's like uh, you are exactly in the right place if you are sharing your personal truths and your stories so that other people may learn from them. So I think that that's fucking great. So the Wheel of Fortune is basically like, yep, you're right on time with this. And then
Right.
King of Cups here reversed is a question about like, in the midst of all this, you have all this potential to share all this knowledge and spread wisdom. There's a way in which you are pouring out maybe more than you can afford to pour out emotionally, because the King of
Hmm.
Cups, cups is the suit of the heart, is a suit of feeling.
Right.
And so um you know obviously to be generous with your heart, with the people in your life, but like not to the extent that you're pouring out too much. Does this make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And which I know is like, you're a really kind person and you give of
Hmm.
yourself a lot, and I think that's really admirable about you. So it's kind of just a little nod to um you know like check your own like balances, check your own
Right.
internal balances. And
Mm.
then sorry, at the bottom of the deck, this Queen of Wands reversed. Like Queen of Wands is like the queen of the energetic boundaries, right? And she takes no shit. She's very clear about what she needs and wants, and she says so. And there's nothing like sneaky or squirrely about it. It's just really clear. And I think that the Queen of Wands in reverse is similar to the King of Cups reversed. Might be
Hmm.
giving away her power a little bit, So, but it's on the bottom of the deck, so it's probably more like a subconscious thing, like to maybe check in and notice the ways in which you are, yeah, allowing your boundaries to be stepped on, um,
Hmm.
because that is siphoning energy away from this endeavor. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I will also just commend these cards. These are so beautiful.
Aren't they gorgeous?
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, I found this she's an artist who's been on Instagram for a while. She's been like kind of dripping out the cards one at a time until she finally released a whole deck, and so I just grabbed one.
Heck yeah.
It's so cute. Well, so Matt, where does this land for you? And I kind of almost want to get a little somatic with this. When she was reading that, especially with the reversal cards, in terms of like your cup kind of,
Hmm.
leaking out or whatever. That's my
Your cup leaking out.
Oh yeah,
leaking
I
out
mean,
your cup. Like where in your body do you feel that? Is there any? Did you
what?
notice anything?
Well, I would say
That's my somatic
predominantly,
stuff. Go
yeah,
on.
yeah, probably like in my mid back, I feel, but that just might be because I don't really have good lumbar support in the chair. And it could be, but yeah, no, so like in the back, but like tensing up a little bit and like recognizing, that, maybe there is something there of, my concerns of where I am, putting my energies and everything like that. How much time I've been able to put in to the things that I'm working towards, and then how that's impacting relationships, or just whether or not I'm taking enough time for myself. So I think that kind of that definitely resonated, and just in particular, like, oh, maybe my back is a little bit sore or tense because I haven't exercised as much as I normally would because I'm working on towards these things.
Mm.
And so I'm at a point in my life where you have to choose whether or not like you feel old and like creaky because you have, or you have to do it to yourself, be it by being sore all the time. And I try to choose the be sore all the time because I do it to myself, and then it's not because I'm old, it's because I'm fit.
Right. So there's some agency in your aging. It's not just
Yes,
happening to you.
exactly. And so
Love it.
if I go too hard on leg day and I can barely walk, yeah, for the next 2 days, yeah, that's fine. That's not a potential issue walking down the stairs for the subway. It's, oh, I'm in good shape. But yeah, I haven't been doing that so much. So, the kind of and I think that's one of those things that I kind of do as a, something that I enjoy, and, something that, I put time and effort into. And so that's definitely something just in my mind that I can pinpoint that I haven't been doing as much. And so the soreness that I'm feeling right now, gives me a little anxiety because it's
Mhm.
like, oh, this is just my body's natural soreness, and
I
not
I
something that
hope
I've done.
I hope it didn't make you feel bad. I wasn't it
No,
wasn't my
no, no.
intention to make you feel bad
Oh
because I was
no.
like, everything you're saying, same.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sore all the time.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was just
Oh,
curious.
oh yeah, no, I don't feel bad at all. It's just
Okay, good.
the kind of highlights this, one area of my life where I'm like, oh yeah, that definitely is something that I haven't been focusing so much on because I'm focusing on these other things. And is that, am I giving time to all the things that normally balance me out? And that's definitely one thing where I can pinpoint and
Mm.
saying like, oh yeah, I'm not giving enough time to that.
Yeah. Hmm. I also want to mention, I mean, and this is not a therapy session, I promise, but like to the thing about your mid back,
Hmm.
um, and feeling a soreness there, like yes, all of these like physical anatomical things, and also to just like drop the seed in and think about whether you feel like you are supported, like that somebody has your
Hmm.
back, that the
Right.
universe has your back, that your back is had by
Right.
somebody.
Mm.
Because to be like with, especially with all these court cards here, like it, it's a lot to carry. Like people are
Hmm.
depending on you, your audiences are depending on you, and you have to have a strong back to hold such a heavy sword, and so
Right.
um
You gotta
your strength is
bend the
just as
knees
important. Yes.
also.
Hmm.
Yeah, lift
Sorry.
from the knees.
Hmm.
that that it's really just as important for you to feel backed up
Hmm.
as it is for you to like present something grand,
Yeah.
even at
Not
your
Absolutely.
I was just like colon comes right to mind when you say backed up. Sorry.
what.
I'm just like, it's all about
Not that,
digestion, isn't
Jen,
it?
come
I
on.
know. Let's
You
bring
know it.
everything to poop. No,
Hmm.
you don't feel backed up, do you? Just kidding. All right. We don't need to go there.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the colonic place down the street from my house. They do such a great job. I couldn't think of a name of one that quickly. So, but they're
Never
great.
had a colonic. Have
We
you
would
guys?
get there. I have.
I heard
I
that
have.
it's really like euphoric.
Oh no.
As
I kind of got weird vibes from the place I went to. It was years ago, in like the Lower East Side, and I just got the feeling that the woman who was administering it, who did it like weekly, was like too into it, and I felt like maybe she was compensating for something else. I don't know. It was kind of strange. I didn't like it. I had a little bit of soreness. It's like how open do I want to be about it? I get it, but like, and it was interesting as as a life experience. But for me, I was like, no, I don't think it's meant to go up that way, that far with water.
yeah, I don't know
Reasonable.
if people swear by it and how like it cleans out
Oh
stuff
yeah,
that's been
people
there
are
for like, decades.
true.
But I do feel squeamish.
That's true. It does. It does. I'll explain later why. You know that it does. Yeah. There is whatever. Fuck it. I'll say it. This is my podcast. I'll say what the fuck I want.
It's all about
You
agency.
smell things you haven't smelled since you were like a child. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this
That's
is
what.
old.
Oh, that's what the Play-Doh smells like. Okay.
Wait, that's so specific and weird.
Yeah. That's why I didn't really want to say it, but fuck it.
Yeah,
This is
that's
how
right.
I feel about it.
Yeah.
It was strange. It was definitely like oh, okay, I see. There's old stuff here.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
different
Hmm.
kind of.
I feel like if I could be like knocked out for it, I would do it, but like I just don't want to be awake for something.
Yeah, they kind of like, I think they all have their own methods. Sometimes they like talk to you.
No, I can't. I cannot be perceived. Well, if you see something up my butt, you better not pretend. You pretend like I am not here. Okay.
Sorry, Matt.
No, I mean this is vital information. I mean, you don't want your cup to be too full.
Yeah, better pour some out.
Yeah. And you guys listening at home, you need to hear these kinds of things.
Do you though?
I know, maybe you don't need to, but you are hearing it. In regards to the question that you asked, do you feel like you have some answers in how you can move forward with a little bit of clarity?
I think I do. Yeah, I do feel that, I have a degree of clarity and the kind of, setting, boundaries and setting up things for me and making sure that I do the things that I need to do, as well as put in the work that I need to do to make sure things come out the way I want them to, without, ignoring what my day-to-day normal life is, my day-to-day relationships and everything like that. I don't need to do everything, but at the same time I need to put the work in for the stuff that I want to achieve.
Yeah, and I want to say like yes to all of that, and yes to achievement. Achievement is a very outward focused thing,
Hmm.
and I feel like in order to like achieve what you want, which is also part of your destiny, it requires internal maintenance as well as external.
Right, right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yes, the working out, and also to sound corny, like check in with your heart,
Right.
like check in with your viscera as well. Because yes, it's muscles that help you wield the sword, but it is also a really grounded and centered, like an emotional home to come back
Right,
to, where there
right.
are pillows and soft things for you to rest upon, not just your subjects.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know that you're a very like heartful person, so it's not like the issue is not like you're not heartful enough. It's just like
Hmm.
save some of that for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to offer up something. I gave a reading to somebody yesterday, and one of the things that came up, I'm sure that person doesn't mind me using the lesson that kind of came through. One of the things that came up that I thought was really interesting and really useful in regards to cups being full or empty and maintaining your balance was the message that came up was that this person needed to create more containers. And that came in very specifically. So thinking of a container almost like a barrel filled with
Hmm.
water, right? That's your energy. It's a finite energy. And there's different containers. So there's the physical activity container, like your
Hmm.
exercise. There's the work creativity container. There's the personal relationships with this person container or that person container. And they're all separate containers. But to sort of think about it in terms of these containers and observing yourself a little more and being more aware of what depletes that container and what
Hmm.
fills up that container in relation to that particular situation. So there's a container for each of them. I feel like sometimes that can help wrap your mind around it, and divvy up what the expectations are within each of those situations or relationships.
Right. That
Does
makes sense.
that does that s- does that help anything?
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who is a member of the pop program at the Container Store, container metaphors are very helpful for me. So
Great.
yes, it definitely resonates.
Yeah. What does your container look like?
Oh, wait.
Decorate it.
So in the practical sense, it's a weather tight tote. With those clasps, where it's going to be effective and it's going to be stackable and things can be with the semblance of being organized. But at the same time, there's going to be some little junk drawer adjacent
Mm,
energy in each one of them.
love
So
it.
it's gonna say garage with the stickers because we didn't have the stickers that they were pre-written stickers. But it's stuff that has a bunch of pins and note cards and pencils and all these different things, along with
Wow.
like tax documents as well.
Amazing.
So a little mix of everything.
Labels are super important, but wow, so that seemed to be the right information for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to say think about in terms of relationships, you know, um the kinds of things that fill you up in relationships
Hmm.
with certain people, and then the kinds of things that take away from it. And then when you're putting all those containers, you're stacking them, making
Hmm.
sure that they're full so that
Right.
you can, again, it's almost coming back to the king card, having a strong sort of foundation of stacked containers, making sure
Right.
they're filled, regardless. I mean, we all need a junk drawer. I'm a huge fan of the junk drawer. But just recognizing and sort of um honoring your specific container and what needs to be in it in order for that to be a strong uh component in your life.
Absolutely. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to say, I don't know why this just came up to me, but like thinking about this Queen of Wands reversed, I for some reason just thought of Beyonce being
Okay.
like, "Don't give your power away, baby." Like
Hmm.
she wouldn't do that. Do you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's what I think of a Queen of Wands. I think of like divas, and
Right.
uh, and they always remember who they are, like even when push comes to shove. So,
Absolutely.
um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that. That's just like standing in your power as who you are, regardless of what people's opinions are around you.
Hmm.
Even regardless of whether or not they praise you. Because
Right.
in a way it's like, well, I know.
Yeah. This
I
is
know I'm
this is
amazing.
yeah. This is it. This is what you get.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Is there
Wow.
anything other clarifying things? I don't know. I was thinking about pulling a card from this other deck. too.
Yeah. Let's see. What is another thing? Yeah, I mean, I'd say, one of my other stressors is in the middle of going to doing the show is I'm going back. Okay, so context. I am technically booked to perform at a funeral when I next visit Arizona, which is in the middle of performing the show. So right after this comes out, within days, I'm going to perform at a funeral, and then I'm going to come back to New York from Arizona and do the show a couple more times. And so, one of my things there is that, I've been asked to do something funny at this memorial service slash funeral. And so I think that, one of my uh, apprehensions is like, okay, like, uh, how does one do that? How do I how would I approach that, and what is the best way to go about doing that? Is it through sharing stories about this person, or is it about kind of uh, talking about things everybody mutually experienced, or is it individual experiences that I had with them? um yeah, so that's
Mhm.
something
You want
that's
me to,
on
you
my
want me to
mind.
write your funeral set for you? Yes.
Well, and that's not what I mean by that, but like
No,
because I know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk
yeah.
about the video game Mist. And so because the person there's a very fun little anecdote about that, but whether or not it is something where I I truly can justify trying to do something exclusively funny, or should it be um it is my focus on trying to be funny and approaching it from a perspective of funny, negating the kind of the emotional connection that I would have of like processing that loss, I guess, is ultimately where my concern is.
That's clear. And I will say that this deck, which by the way is the Radiant Wilds
Okay.
deck, another super
Also ombre. It's
and
like the exact same.
I'm just into these colors. Two cards flew out, and we have the Six of Pentacles and the Five of Wands. And
Hmm.
Six of Pentacles, like, which is similar to some of the things we've been talking about, has to do with and Pentacles is like our resources, like our physical resources, money,
Hmm.
energy, skills, and the key word here in the Six of Pentacles is like charitable. So
Right.
um it's about like balancing the scales of resources. And so
Hmm.
to answer your question, I feel pretty strongly that while there you will bring in the humor will be there naturally. It's
Hmm.
like, how can your words be the most charitable to this
Right.
person's legacy and all their loved ones, uh, and and if you give really authentically from your from your wealth of skills in like
Hmm.
speaking to people, um that will be the most nourishing thing that you can provide, and know that it will be funny regardless, because that's just who you are. So if you give
Hmm.
authentically, it will be funny. But I wouldn't sacrifice sentiment for the sake of jokes. um,
Right.
and to know that it will be reciprocally beneficial for you and the people listening. That's the thing about the Six of Pentacles, is like give and receive, right? So
Right.
whatever you have an excess of, to give generously, and know that like what you have a lack of, you will receive. Like that is part of the giving. So that's
Hmm.
Six of Pentacles. The Five of Wands is really just a call to focus. Like there, it's usually a warning of like scattered energies, scattered
Hmm.
ideas, which makes total sense. And like that's part of the creative process, you know, of just
Right.
brainstorming, just throwing it all on the you know, on the whiteboard or whatever. But like at the end of the day, you're really going to be served by honing in, even if it means losing a joke or two. It
Hmm.
will ultimately like have more of the effect that you want to have in terms of like touching people.
Right.
So how does that land on you?
That feels pretty spot on, honestly. Yeah, I mean, and I think that um, just the kind of, I have this idea of what I can talk about, but beyond like this little anecdote, like what else do I talk about? Do I try and find other anecdotes? Do I find other stories? And that kind of focuses me a bit on being like, oh yeah, I can talk about how this person influenced me, and how I appreciated them, as opposed to just being like, oh, find odd things that happened here and throughout our lives. So I think that will that'll guide me a little bit better in
Yeah,
terms of
I mean,
how I approach it, and then like also I think that will make it a little bit more honest and emotionally cathartic to go through it.
totally. And think of it more um like you can use that anecdote as like the trunk of the tree, uh,
Hmm.
and then all of the branches can come off of that. Like don't underestimate the power of like the connection that you had. I guess I should say that,
Hmm.
like, connection that you had with this person is like the trunk, and like um the that story can be like the main story, but like you have so much that can come out of that. Like you
Right.
don't need to add a million bells and whistles. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
speaking from the heart, kind of almost going back to, what Lyssa was saying about you and kind of how you do come from the heart and you have a big heart, and speaking to what your true feelings are
Right.
regarding that situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You can
helpful.
do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll send you pictures of these cards.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. Matt, do you have any other questions about anything
Uh,
coming up for you or?
Not really. I mean, those kind of the big things on the horizon. I mean, I have to I have to replace my passport. So, I mean, I guess that's the only other thing. Like, do I need to like rush it and expedite it, or will they get it done? I don't know if you have connection to the bureaucracy of the State Department.
You have
Um,
more of a connection to bureaucracy than I do.
yeah, the answer, I already know the answer is I should have sent it out 3 weeks ago.
Wait, but
So,
do you
but
need a passport to go to Arizona?
no, it's in the contiguous United States. But I have other travel plans beyond that, and so and my passport is expiring in May. So
Mm,
Mm, don't
interesting.
expedite it. That shit is expensive.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And use a local office.
Yeah,
Are you in Brooklyn or Queens?
in Queens. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think I went through an expediting service and then I
Hmm.
realized I didn't need to. I could just do the regular office that does it.
Hmm.
Because they do offer like expedited stuff.
Yeah.
I when I
Mine
booked.
expired. Mine expired last December. Oops.
Oh well.
No.
Mhm.
Oh my God, that would give me such agita. If I
Yeah.
can't escape.
I was like, bring up that challenge for my anxiety. Let's see what happens. And I was like, I'm good. I don't give a fuck. I was like, whatever.
I know how to sneak in. I'll be fine.
I know. It's like, whatever. Just head up to Burlington. Let's go to Canada. It'll be fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, you could be a stowaway. We could all be stowaways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll exchange psychic readings and Reiki services to whoever needs
Perfect.
it. Yeah, that's my
Perfect.
bribe.
Do you know what I learned recently? I was talking to somebody about the eat right for your blood type diet, which I'm not,
Hmm.
jury's kind of out. I think that my blood type is B. I'm not sure, and my mother's papers are like under a pile of something, but apparently people with blood type B, that blood type descends from nomads, like nomads in like Siberia, Mongolia, all of that area, you know?
Wow.
And I don't know, I was just thinking about that in terms of like what's natural to you, maybe to like travel the world giving psychic readings and Reiki sessions is just like genetic.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I want to say wandering Jew, but then I read somewhere that you're not supposed to say that anymore because it's like a bad thing to say and it's like an insult or something.
I feel
I
like
don't
I
know.
claim it. I
I
claim it.
claim it too. I mean, my dad used to call me the wandering Jew all the time when I traveled around, like after college and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, maybe.
I think that if you're not spreading the bubonic plague, you can use it however you want. That's you. But tying it back to the bubonic plague and how it originated, not as good.
Really?
But
Is
yeah,
that where the phrase? Is that where it came from?
my understanding is that yeah, but I might be mistaken, but I believe that's right. So
Wait.
uh,
I'm lost. Say that again. Can you explain that?
okay, so way back when, during bubonic plague times, and most of the reasons why, so it came in on rats and the fleas that were on those rats,
Yeah.
and then the fleas would get off and they would bite people and then they would get the bubonic plague.
God.
And so most of the time those came in through trading vessels and then would potentially um, travel from town to town with merchants that were going to the towns. Or what they would find is that the merchants wouldn't get sick. And so my understanding is that they had like, oh, all of these Jewish merchants are going from city to city, but they're never getting sick because they have cleanlier practices, washing themselves, and they're not sticking around rats. Uh, but then people started blaming them for spreading the disease, when in fact it was just the unhealthy conditions and the infestations of rats and fleas that they had. And so then they started saying like, oh, that as a derogatory term
Jews.
that then was
Dirty. Is that where dirty Jews comes from? I don't know.
Uh,
I feel like that's
uh,
been.
I that one I don't know.
Wandering. I guess I had never thought of like
Okay.
wandering and therefore carrying diseases with.
I mean, go ahead, blame us. They're blaming us for everything else. Well, I mean, some places.
We can't get into this right now.
We can't get into this, but
yeah,
yeah.
I will definitively
Prior
say it was not the
recent
Jewish
news.
people. Yeah, it was not the Jewish people spreading the bubonic plague. We can. I think the jury has come to that conclusion.
Still,
good to know.
I wander, and I am loud and proud about it.
Wait, so going back to this blood type thing, what are you supposed to eat as a blood type B? I'm so curious. What have you learned?
Let's just say I might not be B, I might be A, and my brother might be B, but I don't know. But blood type B, I mean, huge list of like things that are beneficial, neutral, and then to avoid.
Ooh.
And the things that you're supposed to avoid as a blood type B: chicken, peanuts, tomatoes. These are I live on these things. These are the three things that I live on. So it can't be that. But like dairy's okay. So like basically suggests that meats such as like wild meats such as like mutton, rabbit, venison, lamb, like that these are what the type B, and like hearty dairy and yogurt and cheese, because that's what people in Siberia were eating at the time.
Oh, wow.
None of that is true for me. So I got really, really interested in learning about this diet for about 10 hours.
2 weeks.
And then I moved
and then
on.
you're like, I need to go travel somewhere. I'm done with this. Well, Matt, thanks for listening to our.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's informative.
Well, Matt, please tell everybody where they can find you and follow you.
And buy tickets.
And buy tickets.
Absolutely. You can find me online at Matt Storrs, It's MTSTORRS. And then you can find out my tickets for No Bones About It at at frigid.nyc, and searching Frigid, No Bones About It, you should come up there. And there are both in-person and streaming tickets available, so if you can't make it in person, you can definitely check it out if the times match up for you. And then you can find me. I have a link tree at MT Stores with all of my links to all the various things that I have coming up, and all the fun little things that I do.
Amazing. And Lyssa, for people who haven't been listening to the podcast,
I know
let
most
us know.
people are sick of me already.
No.
But you can find me
Never.
on Instagram at A Flock of Sandwiches. My website is lyssamandel.com, LYSSAMANDEL.com. And I offer somatic therapy. I offer tarot. I do spontaneous writing sessions every other week on Tuesdays called the Writing Jacuzzi. It's come and free write. You can just drop in. And otherwise, just trying to scrape together pennies.
All right. Well, thank you both so much. I really appreciate it. And talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Thank you
Jen.
so much.
You're welcome.